Welcome to day 2511 of What's Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, sharing and documenting the journey originally as I went from the brick and mortar corporate world of businesses to the online world of business, dropping things. And today and the rest of the year, I'm trying to combine, just for sanity's sake, it's such a busy time of year, both what I talk about in the Let's Grow Annual Challenge and my Supersize Your Business group. Why? For consistency, for my brain to be on one wavelength as I'm talking about topics, for both business owners as well as us as individuals. The Let's Grow Annual Challenge is, businesses could do it. I haven't really invited any business owners are in it, but I haven't really invited businesses specifically to participate, but that might be something I consider next year because it could be of great value to them, depending on what next year's challenge is going to be. I haven't decided yet. So today and for the next 8 days after today, so for a total of 9, we are going to dive deep into each of the different areas of the life framework. Today we're doing emotional because that's the one we talked about first during this past year. In February, we spent the entire month focusing on emotional growth, emotional well-being, emotional health. We ran through, and I've talked about this before, the SOAP framework on our biggest challenge area with respect to emotional well-being, emotional health, and emotional growth. Then we covered a bunch of different topics and a bunch of different tools. And at the end of the month, we went through our own 7-step growing process. We created the process in January by looking at different frameworks and different ways of growing. And we created our own that aligns with growing, GROWING, to help us to remember and learn it. And then we practice it every month, and we'll practice it at the end of this year. We'll do the same thing. We'll pick our biggest still growth area or goal, and we'll run through our growing process to set us up for success in 2025, next year. I always like to say next year. So when you're listening to this, it's like, well, that's weird. That's from 5 years ago. Why am I listening to this now? Because I guarantee it will still be relevant. So today we're looking at emotional health, emotional well-being, and emotional growth. And we're taking and doing an audit of what we've done so far and where we're at, our progress. So we're going to go back, look at our notes from February. This is what I'm going to do. Go back, audit my notes from February and say, okay, what did we cover? What was important? What were my biggest ahas and lessons learned? Then I'm going to say, okay, from a progress standpoint, here I am almost to the end of the year. What is the status of the goals I set for myself, or the main one goal I set for myself in February? Where am I at? How am I doing? How's my progress going? Did I set something and do something, and is it working, and has it worked? Did I achieve my goal already? Maybe in March or April, I achieved that goal already. And so that part of my life has just been kind of rolling along. And what I do is a lot of times, and for this area in particular, for example, I'll set an affirmation. So I set an affirmation that I added to my daily affirmations. And so I know that progress wise, I've been working on that all the time. Am I where I want to be emotionally wise? No, absolutely not. Something that I'll work on for the rest of my life, because I believe we are all a work in progress, and our purpose here on the planet is to become the best possible version of ourselves. That means continuous growth and improvement, right? And again, that's defined by you. Improvement to one person might not be improvement at all. It might be actually going backwards for another person. It doesn't matter what's right for anyone else. All that matters is that you're doing what's right and feels right for you and moving in the direction that you desire to go. So we're reviewing emotion for both our personal lives, and the Supersize Your Business people are reviewing the emotional temperature, wealth, health, and well-being of their organization. A lot of that is seen in our culture. And as owners and as a business owner, I will tell you, it's very easy to have blinders on and not see what's going on in your business right in front of your face and in front of your culture. A long, long time ago, really early on in my businesses, we had a couple of guidelines and things that we put in place, and we all agreed on it, so that it wasn't like I said, we're not going to do this. We decided we would not have conversations about politics and religion or other things that people felt very strongly emotionally about and had a lot of emotional charge behind them. Not because we didn't want to have those conversations, but we didn't want to have those conversations at work where people's feelings would get hurt and relationships could be destroyed because we have a difference of opinion. And the more mature we get, the more emotionally intelligent we get, the less likely that is to happen. but there's still a whole lot of people in the population that you hurt their feelings once and they're never going to talk to you again. Well, that doesn't work in a business environment. And so as a group, we early on decided we're not going to talk about these things unless we all agree. And then maybe it's going to be after work, having a glass of wine or something, we're going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it in the work environment because we value those relationships more than our opinion and beliefs about any given topic, right? And again, if you surround yourself and if you bring people into your organization that have this similar core values, this is less likely to happen. But we need to do an audit and a review of our life. Are people in our life, are we on the same emotional beliefs and ideas and continuous improvement? Or do we have people in our lives, and we all do, by the way, that are just plain crazy, ruled by their emotions and reactive, right? Sometimes that person is us, and we want to be less reactive and more proactive in our approach to anything that's going to trigger our emotional response. So that's what we're working on today. And then for the next 9 days, we'll focus on a different area. It's kind of a lot if you haven't been keeping up with it, but that's okay too. If I were to look back at my emotional things and say, oh my gosh, I didn't do anything that I said I was going to do with this, then I got some work to catch up on. But I also want to then ask myself, well, what happened that I didn't do what I said I was going to do? And then just learn from that. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm just going to say, okay, well, this happened and it was a huge thing and it totally shut down my ability to work on that area. And then we just say, okay, well, what's next? What am I going to do about it next or now? Because we can't change anything in the past. If we didn't do it, we didn't do it. We just need to be honest with ourselves. Like, yeah, I made no progress in this area. I would have to say, when we get to physical, I'm going to have to say, I didn't make very much progress in that area this year. And it doesn't feel awesome, but it's the truth. And so I have to be honest with myself and say, well, what am I going to do next year differently? All right. Any questions? Hit me up and ask. If you got an idea for next year's challenge, hit me up with that too, because I have not honed in on exactly what I want to do next year. It always comes to me before the end of the year, but sometimes I need help, but I always come up with something. What do I mean? I always come up with something. I just don't know what it's going to be yet. That's what I tell myself. I don't know yet. I haven't done that yet, but I am going to commit to myself that I will. All right. If I can help you, ask. Otherwise, have an absolutely awesome day. Bye.